Hey guys, it's Sam, and this is my spoiler-free review of The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. This didn't really feel like YA to me, it actually felt more like an adult book, but it is technically classified as a YA because our main character, sort of, I'll get into that, is a teenager, but honestly, if you are above a certain age, you can still read this too. I wouldn't recommend this for younger readers because there are some things that I don't think are good for children to necessarily read, but if you are a teenager and above, I think you will enjoy this book. From like 15 all the way up, as long as you are a teenager that can handle some more mature themes, I think anybody can enjoy this book. So this is a story about Ava Lavender and her family. Ava was born with wings. So this is about her and her mother and her grandmother. And we actually start with her grandmother and go all the way through to Ava's birth and things that happen after her birth as a teenager and stuff like that. So it's really the story of a family, a very unusual family, a very magical family. This is a magical realism novel, so you don't really know if these things are real or fake, if they're a metaphor, if it's magic, if it's not. You're not really sure, and it is more of a historical fiction setting as it takes place over many, many years, like I said, starting with her grandmother going all the way up to Ava, and it is a beautiful, beautiful story. I don't know if you guys can already tell how much I loved this story completely. I'm obsessed with it, so let me talk to you about why you should read it as well. So first off, the world building and the writing. The writing is so beautiful and immersive. I love magical realism, and I didn't realize how much I loved it until I read this book. This book has such beautiful atmosphere. From the beginning, the prologue, before you even start the book, I was immediately hooked. It is beautiful, these breathtaking passages, and just the atmosphere. It honestly felt like just sinking into like a warm blanket on like a misty fall day, and that's actually what I said in my Goodreads review because that's the best way to describe it. I just felt like I was just immersed in this story, and it was so beautiful. I haven't had a reading experience that's so atmospheric like this since I read The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, which you guys know is one of my favorite books of all time. So as far as the characters, this is definitely a character-driven story. Like I said, it is following Ava Lavender and her entire family, and so you get all of these characters and her family and how everything kind of interweaves, but you also get a lot of different side characters that are either related to her family, or you've seen them in like the town or something, or they lived a long time ago but their actions are still affecting things now, so you get a ton of different side characters, and while some of their parts are very small, you might only hear about them for like a page or two, you still get a real sense of their importance, how every single character has an impact in the story in some way. There are so many different threads that are interwoven here, and not in a messy way. Again, the writing and the storytelling is beautiful. So it's in no way messy or anything, but there are so many different threads, so many different people affecting things and different actions and how they all kind of line up, and it was so beautifully done. So every single character in this story matters. Technically, our three main characters are Ava, her mother, and her grandmother. So we start with her grandmother's story and we go all the way up. And like I said, it kind of transitions very slowly, very gradually, and everything ties in. All of these main characters are present throughout the entire story. So you have Ava's grandmother and her whole story, and then Ava's mother is born and you have her whole story, and then you have Ava being born and her whole story, but all of the characters are present throughout in different various stages of their life. I cannot express to you enough how beautiful the writing is and how wonderfully everything weaves together. So as far as the plot, since this is a character-driven story, it is slower, but I didn't feel like it was bogged down in any way. I do like slower character-driven books. Like I said, this felt very reminiscent of The Night Circus to me, but it still felt like I needed to pick up and read it. I needed to know what was going on, and there were so many little tidbits that we got thrown and things that I'm going to enjoy so much on reread because I'm already thinking about rereading this story. So the plot, while it's not really action plot driven, was still very beautiful. Everything wove together so beautifully and intricately, and I still wanted to know how everything turned out in the end. So overall, I can't say much about this story. This is really just a story that you have to pick up. Go in semi-blind, just know that it is a deep character study of a family, a very wonderful and mysterious family, and it deals with so many things. It deals with grief and loss and love most specifically. It just deals with love of every single kind. Familial love, romantic love, platonic love, every single kind of love, unrequited love, everything. Different kinds of relationships as far as familial relationships and platonic relationships. It was just beautiful, but there are sad points in the story, like I said, that does deal with grief and loss and loneliness, but there's also really happy points. So this really is the story of life and of family and of people, and that there are ups and downs, and there is melancholy moments, and there is joy, and the way that it's written, like I said, and I cannot get over it, probably the most beautiful writing that I've read all year. And I've read a lot of beautiful books this year, but the most beautiful writing that I have encountered, again, since The Night Circus. And these are completely different stories, this and The Night Circus, but it felt very similar in how I was reading it and how much I was loving it and the writing style. It is so beautiful. I don't think I'm gonna be able to find another book written like this. It is just stunning, and I cannot get over it. I finished it a few days ago, and I'm still thinking about it, and it's just one of those books that's really gonna stick with me, that I'm probably gonna reread once a year. It is breathtaking, and it deals with so many things, and it can mean so many things to so many different people, and you should read it. I do have to mention that there are a couple triggers in here for suicide as well as sexual assault, so if you're not comfortable with those themes, then I would definitely make sure that you are on the alert if you are going to read this, but I still recommend reading it. It deals with some very difficult topics in a very beautiful way, and it's not the main focus of the story anyway, so this is not a book about suicide or depression or sexual assault. It's about life in general. I obviously gave The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender 5 out of 5 stars. I'm also going to be doing a spoilery gush video on this. I don't have a ton to say, but just about certain instances and certain characters and things that I want to talk about, so if you have read this book, then go ahead and check out my spoilery gush video down below. So comment down below and let me know what you thought of The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender. That is a mouthful, but I love this book so, so much. And let me know if there's any books that you've read that are similar to this. I love this very atmospheric, beautiful writing, magical realism, that whole thing, and I'm probably going to be searching for another book like this for a while. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!